positive for a banned substance, and we are none the wiser as to whether or not you've done this. So all we have is the science. But
listen, I've had, I don't know, 50 positive drug tests in my promotional career for different fights. I know how it goes down, but this one was just like, you know, obviously they're
a different type of animal. Ryan says he doesn't know how he got in his system. See the amount that was in my blood, that it was like literally a grain of salt in an Olympic-sized swimming pool, which is nothing, not going to benefit you in any way. But I don't know.
Ryan Garcia's boxing career just imploded. Multiple failed drug tests, performance-enhancing drugs flooding his system. And now the entire sport is watching to see if this golden boy can survive the biggest scandal of his generation.
So that's why I really don't want to talk about it, because until all the information, I don't want to bash somebody if the information's not right. But if that's really what he did, I mean, I feel like...
David Benavides isn't mincing words here, and honestly, he shouldn't be. Without full confirmation, sure, it's hard to make final judgments. But let's be real about what we're looking at. If Ryan Garcia did use PEDs, and all signs are pointing in that direction, this isn't just a problem for Ryan. This is a massive problem for boxing as a whole. We're talking about a sport that's already battling credibility issues, already fighting to maintain legitimacy in the eyes of casual fans. And now you've got one of the biggest young stars, one of the most marketable fighters in the game, potentially caught red-handed with performance-enhancing drugs in his system. The repeated controversies aren't just raising questions about Garcia's professionalism anymore. They're completely obliterating the trust that fans and insiders have spent years building. Because here's the thing that nobody wants to admit out loud. When a fighter gets caught once, you can maybe call it a mistake. Twice, that's a pattern. And patterns in professional boxing don't just happen by accident.
I believe everybody should have the right to protest their innocence. Unfortunately, in this situation, it's guilty until proven innocent. I've been there, right? But one thing we 100% know in this situation...
Eddie Hearn is laying it out exactly how it is, and the picture he's painting should terrify anyone who cares about Ryan Garcia's future. Serious scrutiny doesn't even begin to cover what Garcia is facing right now. This positive PED test isn't just hanging over him like some dark cloud. It's completely reshaping how everyone in the boxing world sees him. And here's what makes this so devastating. In boxing, your reputation isn't just important, it's literally everything. It's what gets you fights. It's what gets you pay-per-view buys. It's what gets promoters to invest millions of dollars in your career. And Garcia's reputation, it's getting absolutely torched by these repeated controversies. Fans who used to defend him are starting to turn. Promoters who used to see him as a golden ticket are now seeing him as a liability. Everyone is watching closely, and the pressure is mounting every single day. Garcia's explanations are being weighed against the evidence, and guess what? The evidence is winning. The sport itself is in this tense, uncertain position where they don't know if they should cut ties with one of their biggest stars or try to salvage what's left of his credibility.
Know what type of person he is, so I can't give my opinion on how he is as a person. So whether he's doing it for fun or whether he's doing it because he's a maniac, I don't know.
But here's where it gets even more complicated. Sam Jones is highlighting something that a lot of people are missing in all this chaos. The uncertainty around Ryan Garcia's character and motives is actually making everything worse. Because when fans don't know what to believe, when they can't figure out if this guy is just careless, or if he's under too much pressure, or if there's something deeper going on, that ambiguity becomes toxic. It fuels endless debate. It creates conspiracy theories. It turns every Garcia fight into a question mark instead of a celebration of boxing skill. And that's exactly what's happening right now. The narrative surrounding Garcia has become so complicated, so twisted with controversy and doubt, that this pre-fight period has become one of the most tense moments in recent boxing news. Fans are questioning everything. Did he know? Did his team know? How long has this been going on? And every day that goes by without clear answers, the story gets worse for Garcia.
This goes through and it goes to VADA. It's going to VADA. It ain't going to get mixed up. So he's done this, and if he's cheated, he's a...
George Kambosos is calling out anyone attempting to cheat, and while he's not naming Garcia specifically, everybody knows exactly who he's talking about. The message he's sending is crystal clear, and it should send chills down Garcia's spine. The system is designed to catch violations. The technology is there. The testing is rigorous. And when fighters try to beat the system, they get caught. But here's the kicker. The repeated PED failures aren't just damaging Garcia's reputation anymore. They're actively threatening the sport's integrity. Fans are getting frustrated watching this pattern emerge. They're starting to wonder if their favorite sport is clean. They're questioning whether the fights they're paying to watch are legitimate competitions or pharmaceutical experiments. And that frustration is threatening to overshadow everything about Garcia's upcoming fight. Instead of talking about his skills, his speed, his knockout power, everyone is talking about what substances might be in his system.
When a guy is taking in performance enhancement drugs, it's just it's dangerous. It's dangerous for.
Now Devin Haney is bringing up something that should make everyone's blood run cold. The PED use doesn't just endanger Mayweather Garcia's career. It endangers the safety of his opponents. Think about what that means for a second. Boxing is already one of the most dangerous sports in the world. Fighters are literally trying to knock each other unconscious using their fists. And now you're telling me that one of these fighters might have chemically enhanced strength, enhanced endurance, enhanced recovery. That's not just cheating. That's turning a boxing match into a potential assault. This adds a serious ethical dimension to the entire controversy that goes way beyond sports. Fans are questioning whether Garcia can be trusted in the ring. They're wondering if his opponents are stepping into the ring on equal terms, or if they're unknowingly facing someone with an artificial advantage. The narrative around Garcia is becoming increasingly negative, and it's painting him as reckless. But more than that, it's painting the sport itself as potentially dangerous and unregulated.
A bad look for boxing. I mean, no matter who did it, but to be in a fight of this magnitude, and first, I thought he fooled everyone by just playing crazy.
Jeff Haney isn't holding back, and his words should be a wake-up call for everyone involved in this mess. Ryan Garcia's failed test is a major blow to boxing's image, and the timing makes it exponentially worse. We're talking about a high-profile fight, the kind that brings casual fans to the sport, the kind that generates headlines and pay-per-view buys. And instead of celebrating the athleticism and competition, everyone is talking about drug tests and scandals. This raises massive questions about transparency and trust in boxing. Fans are disappointed because they invested emotionally in Garcia's story. Promoters are nervous because they've invested financially in Garcia's career. And the sport itself risks being overshadowed by scandal rather than celebrated for the incredible athletic competition it should be. When your biggest stars become your biggest liabilities, that's not just a problem for those individual fighters. That's an existential threat to the entire sport.
My basic response is VADA doesn't lie. VADA's for real. VADA's a legitimate scientific research organization. They have done a great job of helping boxing to clean up performance-enhancing drug.
Eddie Hearn is reflecting on his experience with multiple positive drug tests, and his perspective should terrify anyone in Garcia's corner. Multiple substances detected. Let that sink in for a second. This isn't just one substance that might have been contaminated supplements or an honest mistake. Multiple substances amplify the controversy and fuel legitimate skepticism about Garcia's professionalism. Because here's what multiple substances suggest. It suggests planning. It suggests a systematic approach to performance enhancement. It suggests that this wasn't just bad luck or an accident. The incident is casting a shadow over the upcoming fight that makes public scrutiny and media attention absolutely unavoidable. Boxing is facing another credibility test, and Garcia has become the poster child for everything that's wrong with the sport. Every question about boxing's integrity, every doubt about whether fights are clean, every concern about whether the sport can police itself, all of that is getting focused on Garcia like a laser beam.
Social media is going, absolutely crazy. And usually that does correlate to big pay-per-view, but not always, because there are a lot of times where people are just talking about craziness around a fight.
Jim Lampley is making it clear that there's no wiggle room left in this situation. The testing is legitimate and cannot be ignored. VADA confirmed positive results, which means Garcia faces undeniable pressure from every direction. Fans and media are scrutinizing his every move as this scandal grows bigger by the day. And here's what's really devastating about this. The doubt over Garcia's credibility isn't just affecting him, it's affecting everyone around him. His team, his promoters, his sponsors, everyone who's attached to Garcia is getting dragged into this mess. Boxing authorities are left with no choice but to enforce the rules strictly to maintain the sport's integrity. Because if they give Garcia special treatment, if they let him slide because he's a big name and a big draw, then they're essentially admitting that the rules don't apply equally to everyone. And once fans lose faith in the fairness of the sport, once they start believing that stars get special treatment, the sport dies.
Get all the information from the commission, and then we'll obviously, make a statement. But right now we have to get the B samples and all that, so yeah, that's what I'm waiting for. But it's like there's no room for anyone to cheat, and I strongly feel that Ryan didn't cheat.
Steven Espinoza is highlighting how this PED controversy has ignited a social media frenzy, and that's actually making everything worse for Garcia. Sure, the buzz might drive attention in the short term. More people might tune in to see what happens. But the attention Garcia is getting is absolutely toxic. He's being exposed to ridicule and skepticism on a massive scale. The narrative dominating social media isn't about Garcia's skill or his potential or his exciting fighting style. It's about doubts over his ethics. It's about questions regarding his integrity. It's about whether he can be trusted to compete clean. This pre-fight period has become one of the most volatile moments in recent boxing history, and Garcia is at the center of all of it. Every tweet, every Instagram post, every interview is being dissected for clues about what really happened. And the court of public opinion, they're not being kind to Garcia.
You see how as soon as why didn't it take 72 hours for the test to come back, right?
It came back after the fight, yeah.
Right. So why didn't come out?
Oscar de la Hoya is trying to defend Ryan Garcia while expressing caution, and you can tell he's walking a tightrope here. He's stressing the need for B-sample confirmation, which is the right thing to do legally and professionally. But despite his support, despite his attempts to give Garcia the benefit of the doubt, the shadow of suspicion looms large over everything. Fans are divided between those who still believe in Garcia and those who think he's guilty as charged. This situation underscores the tension between loyalty and transparency in boxing. De La Hoya has invested heavily in Garcia's career, both financially and professionally. Garcia's success reflects on Golden Boy promotions, but Garcia's reputation is teetering on the edge as scrutiny intensifies ahead of the fight. Even Garcia's biggest supporters are starting to hedge their bets, and that should tell you everything you need to know about how serious this situation has become.
When a guy is taking in performance enhancement drugs, it's just it's dangerous.
Tank Davis is questioning the timing of rapid test results, and his hints at controversy are adding fuel to an already massive fire. The speed and frequency of Garcia's failed tests are making the entire narrative suspicious and fueling debate over transparency in boxing testing. Some people are wondering if Garcia is being targeted. Others are wondering if the testing process is flawed. But here's the reality that nobody wants to face. Garcia is becoming increasingly vulnerable to criticism and public doubt, and every question about the testing process just makes him look more guilty. Because when you're already under suspicion, when your credibility is already damaged, every inconsistency gets magnified. Every delay gets interpreted as a cover-up. Every explanation gets viewed with skepticism. Garcia is in a position where even legitimate questions about testing procedures are working against him.
I think now you won't know what stays for 2 weeks. I don't know, why would you take it knowing there's a possibility that it's going to be in your system? And why would you take it for our sport?
Devin Haney is emphasizing the danger that PEDs pose to opponents, and this brings up the ethical stakes that make Garcia's case so much more serious than just another scandal. We're not just talking about credibility anymore. We're talking about real risk to fighter safety. Boxing is already dangerous enough when both fighters are competing on equal terms. But when one fighter might have chemically enhanced strength, enhanced endurance, enhanced aggression, that changes everything. The sport must address this issue decisively, and Garcia faces both moral and professional consequences as the debate intensifies around his pre-fight conduct. Because here's what a lot of people don't understand about performance-enhancing drugs in combat sports. It's not just about gaining an unfair advantage. It's about potentially turning a controlled athletic competition into something much more dangerous. And that's a line that the sport absolutely cannot allow to be crossed.
I personally think that Ryan Garcia is just trying to find any motivation to be even more hungry for this fight. His mentality is totally different for this fight. and he's in great shape. I've been worried, to be honest. I've been worried with all of the live streams and all of the kick lives and all the shit. So I've been worried about that. But he just seems just hungry, right? But Mario Barrios was stoic, as always, and he was very serious, calling Ryan Garcia.
Johnny Nelson is raising serious questions about Ryan Garcia's decision-making that go to the heart of this entire controversy. Taking substances that linger in the body shows a shocking disregard for the rules and safety of the sport that should concern everyone. Fans are asking the right question. How can someone compete at this level while repeatedly failing tests? It doesn't make sense from a professional standpoint. It doesn't make sense from a career standpoint. And it sure as hell doesn't make sense from a common sense standpoint. This incident isn't just damaging Garcia's image anymore. It's actively threatening the integrity of boxing as a whole. Authorities are left with no choice but to investigate rigorously because the alternative is admitting that the sport can't police itself. The controversy is overshadowing the fight completely, leaving Garcia's preparation and intentions under relentless scrutiny. Every training session, every interview, every public appearance is being analyzed for signs of what really happened.
Somehow in his system from other means. I know that might sound crazy, but I guess we have to give him the benefit of the doubt, do we? I'd like to think we do. But yeah, this is wild, honestly.
The contrast between Ryan Garcia and Mario Barrios couldn't be more stark, and it's telling the entire story of this fight. Garcia is trying to appear motivated, trying to control his image, trying to manage this crisis. But his reputation is completely tainted. Meanwhile, Mario Barrios remains composed and unaffected by the circus surrounding Garcia. That stark contrast highlights Garcia's vulnerability in the spotlight and his complete inability to maintain credibility while facing a disciplined and focused opponent. Fans are watching a fighter scrambling for image control while his opponent stays calm and prepared. Barrios doesn't need to say anything. He doesn't need to throw insults or create drama. Garcia's situation is doing all the work for him. While Garcia is dealing with drug test controversies and media scandals, Barrios is training. While Garcia is trying to explain himself to skeptical fans, Barrios is preparing for the biggest opportunity of his career. And that psychological advantage might be worth more than any physical edge Garcia could have gained from performance-enhancing drugs.
Opportunity for both guys. For Barrios, who's coming off a draw against Manny Pacquiao, the legend, an old Manny Pacquiao, obviously. But I think this is a great opportunity for Ryan to win a world title. And it's a tough fight. It's a very difficult fight, but it's one.
Even Garcia's supporters are struggling to justify what's happening, and that should be the biggest red flag of all. When the people who want to believe in you can't find good reasons to defend you, that's when you know your situation is absolutely desperate. The repeated incidents make it increasingly difficult to offer Garcia the benefit of the doubt. Each positive test makes the previous explanations look worse. Each controversy makes the next one seem more likely. The term wild perfectly sums up the chaos surrounding Garcia, and it's leaving his integrity in serious question. Boxing fans are left stunned as the drama escalates, putting the spotlight firmly on Garcia's problems rather than his skills. This is exactly the opposite of what any fighter wants heading into a major bout. Instead of talking about strategy and preparation, everyone is talking about scandals and drug tests. Oscar de la Hoya is trying his best to frame the fight positively, but Garcia's PED controversies are dominating every headline and controlling every conversation. The narrative has been completely hijacked. The focus has shifted from the bout itself to Garcia's repeated failures and credibility issues. Mario Barrios now stands in a position of tremendous advantage, with public perception leaning heavily in his favor. The fight promises drama, but it's the wrong kind of drama. Instead of excitement about two skilled fighters competing, the pre-fight headlines are all about Garcia's scandals. This leaves Barrios calm, confident, and ready to capitalize on the chaos surrounding his opponent. Barrios doesn't need to create drama or manufacture storylines. Garcia's situation is providing all the motivation and all the narrative that Barrios could ever want. The fallout from Ryan Garcia's failed PED test has completely changed everything about this fight and sent shockwaves through the entire boxing world. Fans and analysts are questioning Garcia's integrity and whether he deserves to compete at this level after repeated controversies that just keep getting worse. Mario Barrios has maintained his composure throughout this storm, showing discipline, focus, and a level-headed mentality that contrasts sharply with the drama surrounding Garcia. The psychological edge is firmly in Barrios' corner as he prepares to face an opponent whose credibility is in serious doubt. If Garcia somehow wins, it will come under a cloud of suspicion, and the victory will be debated endlessly. But if Mario Barrios delivers as expected, he will cement himself as a true professional who lets skill and preparation speak louder than scandal. So here's my question for you. Can Garcia overcome the biggest scandal of his career? Or is this the beginning of the end for boxing's former golden boy? Drop your prediction in the comments below. If this breakdown opened your eyes to what's really happening behind the scenes, smash that like button, subscribe for more boxing drama, and hit that notification bell because this story is far from over.